Well, good night, and thank you for joining me on our third Keys to Success class and final class. Now, I have been working through my Keys to Success chronologically, which means the first class that you heard me teach was that what I did at the beginning. Okay, that was like what I did at the beginning of my career. That was 14, 15 years ago. And then yesterday's class, it covered what I learned through the process of doing them. And this class today has three things that I'm still working on really well. I won't say I'm a master at it, and I will never think, like one of them I may be very good, but the other two, I don't think you'll ever master for life, but you get better. So I want to talk to you about those three things that actually there are four things that I'm working on and that I think are a key to success right now. So start with my first one, implement what you want out of that. Then go to the next one, implement what you want out of that, and implement what you want out of the third one. So today we're going to talk about four things. The first thing is priorities. How do you prioritize what you need to do? That's really the key. How do you prioritize with everything else? Okay, so most of us have a family, most of us have a business, most of us have a job, most of us have all these other responsibilities. So how do you make a priority to make it happen? So remember, 14 years ago, I did Mary Kay part-time. And I mean like so super part-time, because when you think of part-time, it's like 30 to 20 hours. And I had less than that. I had like 3 to 6, if that, a week. So that was really part-time. And now it's my full-time. So I went from having a corporate job to not having a corporate job by choice. But in between was the process. And so how do you prioritize? So in every stage, there's a priority different level. Because when I was 14 years ago, I only had 3 hours. What was important then that had to get done? And now, what is important now that had to get done? See, 14 years ago, I was building my customer base. And now I'm building my national area, which is kind of similar, but in different level. Okay, so priorities. How do you prioritize? So the first thing I want to teach you is always do income producing activities. In every business, in everything you do, the activity you should do first is the one that is going to make you money. So obviously you're running a business. So you don't run a business to run a hobby. If it was a hobby, it would be a totally different thing. But you're running a business to make money or to support your family or to change your life. So you want to make sure that the first thing you get done every day is the one that makes you money. You heard it. It's called income producing activities. Okay, I didn't say read your email. That doesn't make you money. Unless your business is a business that your contracts come in through the email. And in my business, that is not a happening thing. I don't get emails saying, hey, do you want to come and pamper me? Or, hey, do you want to recruit me? So if you're in my line of business, if you're a network marketer, you do not have emails coming to you. Okay, unless it's a totally different model altogether. So the first thing is I want you to start looking. Identify the activities in your business that make you money. So the first thing you have to look is, what is my business like? What is my career like? What is my job like? What are the things that I have to do to make me money? So when you work for somebody else, they give you those. So when I was a chemical engineer, I knew that I would arrive in the morning and the first thing I had to do was to go to the chemical plant, sit by the operators, take all the data down, put it in the computer, make sure the numbers were correlating, that nothing had spiked during the night, that nothing was higher or lower, so I wouldn't have a batch that would go bad, because if I had a batch that would go bad, that is $500,000 out the door. And did I have those days? Yes, we had those days. Imagine losing $500,000 in a few minutes. And that's what would happen. So we had to be very careful. So my job was that. Then I also knew that after that, I had to go meet with my boss and tell her what was going on. And then we would have these meetings about how we were going to create a new strategy for this, or how we were going to improve the process in this. And these were intense meetings. We were trying to figure out how to fix processes that already existed. And in the middle of the day, we would have like a situation where a valve will break and we would have to get somebody to come in and do it. Or we had a new project for a new product that was going to be launched and we had to test it. So, but somebody gave us those things to do. So I knew every day what I would have to do. And at the end of the day, it was done and I would go home. Well, you can do that to your business to some extent, but you need to know what your priorities are. So that's when I ask you, what are the things that are going to make you money in your business? I lead a few women. I lead more than a few. And my biggest thing when I see them working is that they're not focusing on things that make them money. And we tend to focus on things that don't make us money because they're not scary. So we check Facebook because it's not scary. We check our email because it's not scary. We miss all the phone calls that we have to do because we're so worried about what people are going to say about us, because we tell ourselves that that's scary. Okay, so when I look at my business and I identify what I really need to do are, I need to connect with women, new women every day, or ask for referrals. I have to talk to my customers. Those are the things that must be done. Do demonstrations of the product so I can sell it, and sit down and explain the opportunity to women. That's it. And those 4 things have to be top priority. They don't go last. They don't go, oh, I'll do them tomorrow. No, they get done every day. And that's the goal. Remember what I talked to you about last video? What's consistency? So those 4 things have to be on your list every day, because those 4 things are what catapult you to the next level, If you're not doing those, then you're just spinning your wheels. You look like the hamster on a little wheel. I used to have a hamster. His name was Crispetta. And Crispetta used to run and run and run and run and run and run and run, but they would never go anywhere. And sometimes we feel that way because we are doing everything other than the one thing that's going to take you over. Okay. So identify those activities that aid you, but don't make you money. This is key, because there are these things that I could do that aids my business, but they don't make me money. Like, for example, I could be packing my car. I could be making sampling packets. I could be entering people into my computer, a new customer in their computer. I could be checking the reports, but those are going to aid me for 2 seconds, but they're not going to create the success. So I'm going to ask you to really look at everything you do. And if you want to learn something, I did a time study. I've done it many times during my career, and I think this is very important. I grab a plan sheet. I explain what a plan sheet is. It's a whole week. And instead of planning your week, you track every half hour what you did. And you highlight in green everything that makes you money. And I want you to know that at the end of the week, you will be amazed by how little work you get actually done. Because you're telling yourself you're working, but you're not. So I want you to grab that plan sheet and really every half hour, write it down, and then highlight the stuff that makes you money. And after that, you will learn how to prioritize your life. I swear it, you will learn. Okay. So I use a technique for prioritizing my stuff. And this was taught by Brian Tracy. This is taught by Brian Tracy. There's a book called Eat That Frog that has it in it. But if you want to do a seminar by him, that's great. I just love reading, so I can read, highlight, and remember what I taught you. I grab one book, I read it, but I grab the nugget that I need for my success, and that's the one I implement. So this is what I implemented, but I cannot take credit for it. I tweaked it, obviously. We all tweak things, but here's what it is. So in front of everything that you list for the next day, because you do this the night before. You do it the night before, this way your brain is ready for the next day. You put an A in front of everything that has to be done by you and brings you money. You heard me. There are 2 caveats to this. It's everything that has to be done by you. It cannot be delegated, and it will make you money. So in my case, it's facials, demonstrations, parties, and talking to women. I can't give that job to somebody else. That's just mine. That's my job. So those 4 things are my priority. They're my A. If they have an A, that's very important. So put an A in front of them. B. B are things that if get done, they're helpful, but they're not emergencies. They are not emergencies. You don't have to rush them. You don't have to do them immediately. These are things that it would be good that you do, but doesn't need to be done immediately. It could be done at night, okay? Like, for example, in my case, it would be package some products that is gonna leave the next day. And that's because normally I have a secretary do that, but because of COVID, my secretary can't come into my house. So I leave packages for nighttime. When I'm done working, I just put them together and they leave the next morning. So that's a B priority. That doesn't get done first thing in the morning. If I'm going to give samples away and those sample packets have to be done, I don't watch TV, but if you were watching TV, you could maximize the time and do it today, right there. So that's what I'm telling you. Those things don't get done in the morning. Those things get done when everything else is done. C. C is what you want to do, but will not have impact. What you want to do, but doesn't have an impact, like checking your Instagram, checking your Facebook, commenting on people's sites, unless you're doing it to create business, and there are new ways to do that, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about all these things that you want to get done, but you really don't have to. Like, you want to go get your nails done, or you want to go see what they have at TJ Maxx. That is a C priority. That is not taking you anywhere, okay? So C is what you want to get done, but you don't, but it will not have any impact on you. Nothing impact at all. D, someone else can do for you. I've always said it. Every mail piece that leaves my office should be done by somebody else. Doing my recording on the computer should be done by somebody else. My flyers are normally done by somebody else. Why do I have flyers? Because we invite people to events. And if I'm busy doing paperwork, then I'm not out and about. So I like to be out and about or here on the computer doing facials, now that we do virtuals. So that's very important to understand that anything that you can delegate, you should, and you must. Otherwise, you will never grow. You can't do every job. So which one do you want, the CEO job or the secretary job? You know which one I want, okay? Then E. E stands for eliminate. If you don't want to delegate it, but it's really not needed, eliminate it. You don't really need it, eliminate it. There are things that you need to eliminate out of your life. It'll make your life so much better, and you won't even care. After they're gone, they're gone. We make such a big thing, a big deal about eliminating things, but after you eliminate them and then you forget about them, you just feel so much better and lighter. Just eliminate things out of your life. You will feel lighter, okay? So here's the trick. Always get your A priorities done first. Always all your A priorities done first. And then it's just not about checking a list, because that was great. I was like, I'm done. No. It's with intention, it's with purpose, it's connecting. It's really putting your heart into it, doing it with love, doing it with joy. And then when you do your A's, then you're done. Then you're completely happy. And then you go to your B's, and then you finish your B's. And after you finish your B, if you have stuff in C, you put C in there. Most of the time, I don't do anything that isn't C. And eventually it gets done or it gets eliminated. That's the truth. So if it's in C and I cannot delegate it, and it's in C and I really am not going to do it, it gets eliminated, okay? But my goal, I told you, I have a list of 6 things I do every day. My goal is that those 6 things are A's. My goal is to make sure that those 6 things are in the A category. And then I can have 4 more that are B's. So if I don't get to them, I'm not stressed about it. But like, for example, you're going to say, hey, and what do you do with your credit card? Well, that's a B. It can be done at night. It has to get done, but you have a few days to pay it. So go ahead and do it at night. Okay. So that's how you prioritize. Now, I love this method. It works for me. I think it just frees a lot of time, because if you manage to do your A's and then your list is done and you do a few B's and then you don't have to worry, then you have the free afternoon or you free time to do other stuff. And there are so many fun things you can do, like read a book, like dance, I don't know, take a class. So those are fun. All right, this is the second thing that I want to teach you, and this is something I've been working on. In every aspect of your business, this will change because, well, it depends on what kind of business you have. But in my business, because of my new goals, this changes. But as a new consultant, it stayed the same for a long time. And even if your business is a different kind of business, like you sell shoes or you sell accessories or whatever it is, there's one thing you need to do. You need to identify your ideal customer. You are not going to sell to everybody. I told you yesterday, not everybody's going to love you. Not everybody's going to do business with you. I bet you had never thought of valves and pumps and piping because you're not a chemical engineer and you don't have to buy those things for a chemical plant. So you will never go to a place that sells you those things like Grainger. And you're thinking, what is Grainger? Anyway, you would never order a valve. You don't care. You don't care if it's a pneumatic valve or not, if it has backflow or not, because that never crossed your mind. Now, if you're a woman, you also are not in the business for buying a shaving kit unless you have a husband that loves to shave. So do you see, every business has a different niche. Every business has a different hole in it. Now, I forgot to tell you, my MBA was in Masters in Business, but in marketing as well. And it's key. Don't think so small that you think with lack of abundance says to you, I have to talk to everybody. No, you don't. No, you don't. Identify who your customer is. Like my customers are not men. I may have one or two that buys a cream and mostly through their wife, but that's not my customer base. That's not who my customer is. So instead of looking at everybody, oh, a 15-year-old is not my customer. No, I have a 15-year-old as a daughter. I don't want any customers that are 15 years old. You know, it's that thing. It's like when you sell baby clothes, but you call a woman that is in her 60s. Unless she's a grandma, she's not interested in baby clothes. So we gotta be very careful who we're selling to and what we're selling to, or who we're offering our services to. It's not even selling a product. You may have a service. So make sure that you find that ideal customer. So who is your ideal customer? Is it a woman? Is it a man? How old is she? How old is he? What did he study? Did he go to school? Did he not go to school? Where does he work? What kind of job does he have? What kind of socioeconomic level does he have? You're probably thinking, oh, that's racist. No, it isn't. That's called marketing research. Marketing research. Why do you think you get some catalogs and your girlfriends get a different one? Because they track everything you do. Because they know what you buy. I get catalogs from companies that I buy things from that I bet you don't have, and you get catalogs that I don't get because I would never look at those because we're all different. We like different. So for example, it's key that you know who is your customer, how old are they, what socioeconomic level is it, what education do they have. That's why when you go to anything, they ask you all these questions because they're trying to figure out if you fit that mold or not. So you're doing the same. You have to figure out what your mold is and go for that. Where does that person live? What does she like? What does that person like? What are her needs? Like, what does she need? Okay. Where do they shop? That's very important. What do they shop for? What words does she use? Like, how does she talk? What is she looking for? How can you help her? Your real goal here is to find her need and fill it. You will not have a happy customer unless you find a need and you fill it, because she has to win out of this deal. It works. It clicks like a puzzle. So you need to know what that piece looks like, because you have to be the other piece. And if your piece is round and this piece is square, they're not going to go together. So I need you to figure out what your ideal customer is, because it's called relevancy. You're probably watching me because either you have a business and you want to learn, either you like me because we have something in common, either you're my customer and I serve you. There's relevancy between you and me, okay? But somebody that is 15 years old is not going to watch my video. And somebody that is a CEO for a company doesn't need to watch my video. So I am telling you, you have to find the relevancy between you and the customer so that you can talk to them about what is it that they need. Your job is to fill in a need, but you need to find out who your ideal customer is. And normally your ideal customer is very similar to you. Is looking for solutions like you and to questions like yours. Okay, so whatever you're asking yourself, that's probably what your ideal customer is, or your ideal person that you serve. So just learn about it. In every business, there's an ideal customer. So who's yours? And what is it that they need? And why did they need that? And that is one of the things that I keep working on, because life changes. My life changes. Life changes around it. COVID changed a lot of things. Now my ideal customer is looking for a way to make money from home while she still has her kids in front of a TV doing classes, because we're still virtual. Okay, so it's stuff like that. So I want you to figure out what hurts her. How can you help her? Because that's what your job is, to serve. How can you serve that person if you don't know her? Okay. Number 3 of tonight. So the first one was prioritize. The second one was ideal customer. And the third one, we're going to talk about mentors. I love this one. I really do. I learned a long time ago that you become like the 5 people you hang around. You become like the 5 people you hang around. And when I started learning that, my heart hurt, because I had friends that I loved a ton, but they weren't growing and they weren't moving in the direction like I was. And I knew that I could love them, but I couldn't be with them. I will say it again. You become like the 5 people you hang around with, or you're around with. 5 people. Those are the people that have the most influence in your life. And you may love them, but they may not be the best influence for you. I happen to have a few of those that I absolutely love them to pieces. They're my priority, but they cannot be around me all the time, because their influence is not what I want in my life. So, thinking of that, the first thing you want to do is you want to list everybody that is always around you. Who's always around you? Who do you see daily? Who has a say in your life? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to write in front of that person. When you're around them, do they add or subtract? There's no in between. They're either positive or negative. They either lift you or squash you. You either behave badly when they're around them and you gossip and you talk about people and you become snarky, or you lift your thinking and you're open and positive and happy. They're either a plus or a minus. They're either a plus or a minus. And some people, some days have really good plus days and some days are negative days. But in general, you know if this is a plus or a minus. So I want you to look at everybody that is around your life and put a plus and a minus. And I have to tell you though, there was a moment there I told my husband, you're a negative right now. You're a negative right now. I love you. I will always be your wife. But right now you either change or you and I are not talking for a while, because you cannot rub those negative molecules around me. And guess what? He realized that I was being right. He was being negative and stressed out, and he changed. Okay. But not every husband can take that. But you know when when your husband is negative, because instead of making you feel like you can climb any mountain, he's slumping you down. Or your kids are negative, and you know, I have a teenager. There are good days and bad days, but I always tell her like it is, because she's going to have to learn this lesson sooner or later. So I want you to guard who speaks into your life. I want you to guard who speaks into your life. And I have to tell you, years ago, somebody that I really valued, and it was a mentor, said something to me that I didn't know. I took it to heart, that I made it a belief, and then it hurt me. And it hurt me in my growth and my movement. And all of a sudden I woke up and I realized, wait a minute, that was not a thought that came from me. That's a thought she planted. Okay. So from my heart to yours, guard who speaks into your life. Who speaks into your life. And only take advice from those people that you will swap places with. That was something that somebody said to me years ago. Somebody I really admire, somebody that is outstanding leader. She said to me, Paulina, only take advice from those people you would trade places with. And now, years ago, there were many people I would trade places with. There are not many people right now that I would trade places with. So I also believe that if I ask for advice from somebody, I'm willing to listen and take and consider it and maybe do it. But I normally don't ask for advice. I normally don't ask for advice unless I truly, truly believe that person has achieved that level that I want. So only take advice from those people that want to grow you, from those people who you would trade your spot with. You would want her life, no matter what, hands down. You would want her life, listen to her or listen to him. If you don't, why are you listening? And guard who speaks into your life, because things can get stuck in your subconscious, and your subconscious will create your reality. And sometimes it's not the reality you want, but it's stuck back there and you have to clean it. All right. Look at your friends, really. Look at your friends, at your colleagues, at your family, and write that negative and plus sign in front of them. If they're very close to you, you can have this conversation. And some people will be open to it, and some people will not. I had this conversation with two of really close people in my life that do not understand they're negative. That do not understand that that's the reason that I don't want to be around them. I love them. They're good people. But their negative molecules are stagnant. They kill me. Okay. So choose to spend time with positive people, that plus sign, and run away from dream snatchers. Oh, we have some of those. We all have dream snatchers in our life. We say, oh my God, I'm going to be, and then you say, I'm going to be a millionaire. Oh, I'm going to buy a house at the shore in a few years. Oh, I want to travel this and I'm going to go. And they're like, really? With your salary? You can never do that. Oh my God, girl, you're not even cute. Oh, you say, I'm going to buy that dress. Are you sure? You're a little fat for that. That's a dream snatcher. That's a dream snatcher. They squash your goals and your dreams because they don't have their own. And so it's easier to squash yours than say, I suck and I don't have one. So I'm sorry about the word, but that's really what it is. They're afraid to dream. They're afraid to achieve. They're afraid to go for it. So they'll snatch yours. So don't let them snatch your goals. So don't share your big dreams with little thinkers. Never share your big dreams with little thinkers. I have friends that I will never share a dream with them because they can't think bigger. They cannot think bigger than what they have. I don't want to deal with that. They don't get it. They don't get it. So don't waste your words. Love them. If you would like to hang out with them, that's fine. But remember, guard what you take in. Guard what you take in. And you always end up looking like that person. The more you hang out with somebody, the more you talk like them, the more you behave like them, the more you act like them. Do you really want to do that? So watch who you're hanging out with, because you'll talk like them, you'll act like them, you'll behave like them, and your bank account will look like theirs. That is a scary thought. All right, so now how do we fix that? How do we increase our potential? How do we grow? We pick a mentor. We pick a mentor, somebody that you admire for certain characteristics that you want to develop in your life, some skills that you want to develop in your life. You volunteer, you follow her, you follow them, you go to any event that she does or anything that they do. What if they don't do events? You can ask, can I volunteer? Can I help you work? Can I watch you work? Can I learn from you? Most people love to teach. They just want to give. So it's great to do that. You follow your mentors. You learn from them. You volunteer. First you put yourself in it, and then you learn from them and you get something. Now, in life, you will change mentors. You don't have to stay with the same one. You may learn something from somebody, and then you upgrade to a different one, and then you upgrade to a different level, and then upgrade to a different level. Because in life, your life will always be in constant change. So you're not going to get stuck with the same mentor. Don't ever get stuck with the same mentor. It's not worth it. It's like, I believe in coaching. I think coaching is great. And there are many coaches, and I've had many in my life. I never stayed with them after I figured out, I learned what I needed to learn from this person. Now I can move on. And I don't continuously go and go and go, because that's not going to take you anywhere. That's just a cycle. And you're going around in circles like the hamster. Okay? You can read. What if your mentors are people that you can't get to? I have a lot of mentors that are people that I can't get to. But I read or I watch their seminars and I learn from them. And that's where your mentors comes from, because you're still going to think like them. You're still going to be influenced by them, and you're going to learn from them. Okay, so the director I am today, I owe it to 3 women. The consultant I am today, I owe it to my senior. She trained me. But the director I am today, I owe it to 2 women. And those 2 mentors I've followed, and I learned their techniques, and I learned their systems. But then that system had to be tweaked for me. I am not them, and I am not a copycat. I learned how to grab the nuggets and turn them into my gold. And that's what you need to do. So you're not going to be Paulina after you finish this. You're going to be you with your own techniques, but you're going to find mentors that are mentoring you. So read to move up. Okay. Now, the other thing is, just like your mentors change, your friends will change. You can still love them, but you don't have to hang out with them. You can still love them, but you don't have to hang out with them. You're probably not friends with all your high school friends. And that's normal. It's actually more normal than not. You're probably not friends with all your college friends, because you grow, because you develop different things and you move on. And if you're in a business, if you hold your own business, you're an entrepreneur, it works different than a person that works in an office. We think differently. So you need friends that are entrepreneurs that stretch you, okay? And that's very important. That doesn't mean you can't love the people that work for a corporation. You can love them. But just know that those are not going to stretch your brain. The ones that are going to stretch your brain are the entrepreneurs, because you're an entrepreneur. You think differently, okay? Last thing, and I left this one for last because I think it's the best. It's called Find Joy, Fun, and Play. Find joy, fun, and play. When I first started my business, I didn't understand this. Everybody that was a mentor of mine would say, enjoy the process. And I was like, oh my God, enjoy the process. I'm learning all the skills. I don't know. You know, when you have fun, people actually follow you. When you have fun, you are a magnet and you attract what you want. When you're playing, you're enjoying, you come from joy, you're peaceful, there's no stress. This rubber band doesn't get snapped as much because you're running on joy. You're running on fun. You're running with your whole heart. And today, I even had a moment today. This is how life is. I have a new friend who is a neuro-linguistics coach. That's what she does. She trains people on how to rewire the brain, but she's a friend now. And she's not my coach, she's my friend. But I had a moment when I sent her a message and I said, hey, I just found this in my thought pattern. What can I do? And what came back for me was not my partner that I asked her. She said, listen, what I hear is I hear frustration. I hear need and frustration, and you won't play well. She said, when you're focused on that, when you're living there, you're so shrunken inside that you can't give. And you know what? She was right. So that's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to play and find your joy and find your fun. So when I am stuck like that, like this morning, and I didn't, like when I can't reach my friend that is going to pull me out, and thank God she did, there's music that pulls you out. There are books that pull you out. There's affirmations, there's exercise, there's fun. To me, dancing does it. I just have to do a salsa dance, and that's not with chips, that's a real salsa. And I just love to dance, or a tango or something. It just moves my soul. And once that happens, my mood changes and I'm back to me, back to having fun, back to thinking right. See, when you're miserable, you only attract miserable. Sorry, when you're miserable, you only attract misery. When you're thinking you're broke, you only attract less money. When you're unhappy, you only attract unhappy people. You heard me. When you're unhappy, you only attract unhappy people because you only connect with those people that are vibrating the same way. So remember, a thought creates a feeling, who creates an action and a result. So if you have a bad thought, a negative, awful thought, it's going to create a yucky feeling, and your action is not going to create a good result. But if you're happy, and your thought is of happiness, that feeling, it's like you vibrate so excited, and then your actions are getting more excited, and then you'll get a result that is good. So with a bad thought, you will never get a good result. Oh, my husband is in computers. Okay, and you probably know this. Or in a calculator. If you put in the wrong number, you're gonna get garbage when you do the multiplication. So you have to put in the right stuff to get the right stuff out. Okay, so my dad, for example, years ago when he was graduating in college, he needed to do this programming, and he had the worst spelling ever. So he in those days, to program a computer, you needed a card, and you had to punch those holes in it, and that was the program. You would stick it in the disk, the special disk, and then it would go bip, 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 and it will calculate. And he needed this exam to finish his degree, but my dad couldn't spell. A typical engineer. Anyway, so he kept looking through his cards. It's like, I didn't write. So he said to a friend, hey, do you mind looking at this card? Because I'm putting my card in and junk is coming out. The computer is not calculating it, it's failing. Guess what? His first card had one misspelled word. So it threw off the whole program. So that's what I'm asking. I'm asking you to put in the good stuff to get the good stuff out. So putting good into your brain and you'll come out with good. It's the same as a computer. Put in the disk that has the good stuff. And if you are too young to know what that is, there were disks on computers now. No, they don't. But even if you type, if you're having a program and you type the wrong thing, you will get the junk out. So you want to make sure you put in good stuff to get good stuff. All right? So a good thought will always bring good results. A good thought will always bring good results. And when you're having fun, you attract more fun. When you are really having fun, you're like a little bouncy magnet and people want to be around you. So I'm going to ask you to have fun. Whatever you do, have fun. And if your business really drags inside your heart and you cannot find joy in it, then it's not for you. Then you're in the wrong business. Then it's not bringing you joy. You have to have joy. You have to have joy. You only get to live once. You have to have joy. So when you play, and this is a manifestation idea, and I'm not going to go through it. This takes hours, but you probably read The Secret and you probably read all those other books. But when you play, you open up to the universe to bless you or to bring things to you. So I want you to play. I want you to have fun. I want you to bounce back. Have that bounce back ability. When you fall, you just bounce right up. It's like a ball. You get dumped on the floor, you boop, and get right up. And so when I am stressed, if you ever see me dance, I lose all my stress. It just changes my mood. It makes me happy. It gives me endorphins. I don't know what makes you happy, but find your happy. Find your happy. And even if it's a 2-second dance, do a 2-second dance in your brain. Or even if it's doing a little move or jumping jacks or whatever, that will change your mood. You catch more flies with honey. That's what my dad used to say. You catch more flies with honey. Nobody likes vinegar. So do that for yourself. You will catch more when you're happy. So just let's review. Let's review quickly. We talked about how to prioritize, how to make sure that your most important things get done first. Then we talked about your ideal customer. Identify them, know them, be able to put yourself in those shoes. Then you will be able to talk to them and you will find them. Mentors. Who are you hanging around with? Who are you learning from? Watch what you listen to. Who speaks into your life? And lastly, find the joy, find the fun, and play. And make it the most amazing business. Make it the most amazing life, because you only get to live once. Thank you for spending a few hours with me, and I hope that what I've learned can change your life, and then you can pass it on to somebody else. Thank you.